It is week 4 in college football, but week 3 is not completely put to bed. And on the college football apostles today, we have to talk about what's going on this week and revisit some firings, revisit CW, revisit the AP poll people still doing AP poll things. Who is going to be the next head coach that is going to be stolen from your university? Who are the best teams in the country in all of these conferences, and all of the rest of the great things that happened in last week's college football and what's happening this week in college football, because this is the fun show. I'm George Wrighster. He's Ralph Amsden, and this is the College Football Apostles. Make sure that you like, subscribe, get notifications, and tell a friend about the show. And most importantly, be one of us. So last week, Ralph, we got some huge games. We had Texas A&M, Notre Dame. We had Tennessee, Georgia. We had Oregon, Northwestern. We
Slip that one in there.
um, and we had a bunch of other things going as well. But what was your biggest takeaways from last week?
Okay, so I feel like I've learned this lesson 40 times now, but I'm learning it again this year. If someone was unceremoniously fired for doing a bad job or they weren't a good coordinator somewhere else, the repackaging of them
Oh
and
my
saying
God!
like, I feel like I learn this every year, and it reminds me of that the clip, the Jason Bateman show, when they're like, people convolute themselves into believing that it could work for them, and it
Yes,
never does, but it might work for
but it
us.
might.
Yeah, that like David Cross quote, because Matt Wells at Kansas State, no. Todd Grantham at Oklahoma State, no, like
Mhm.
not at all. It reminds me of when you were so adamant about Colorado not hiring the offensive coordinator under Carl Durrell.
Yes, who came from Minnesota.
Yes, and so like some of these hires that were clearly like, well, maybe it will work this time, have been just absolutely brutal so far this season.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so that's been my main takeaway from what we've seen. The other thing, my second takeaway is that apparently if you name your child after the most exciting basketball player of all time and the most exciting boxer of all time, they will be exciting themselves, because Jordyn Tyson had two of
Oh.
the absolute freakiest highlight catches of the weekend, and he put two in one game. And I feel like that's so unwise, because then people don't get to like respect. Maybe he'll do two a week every week and
Yeah.
just set the bar. But the high pointed one handed catch against the body was enough. That was enough for me to be like, wow, this dude is different. And then he adds the leap over and the extension. Just incredible plays. And I remember, and it has to be just us, and I don't mean to gloat, we were really the first ones on Jordyn Tyson. We did a whole
Yes.
5 segment on how he was Colorado's only good player. Not just good, but potentially great. Get him the
Yes.
ball every time. And here we are 4 years later, and people are talking about him being a first round pick.
Show
And I
prep
guess
for
my
everybody else.
yes. And my third takeaway is that Marcel Reed and Devin Dampier are for real, that they've kind of taken over into that group of quarterbacks that, now that we've got some of these guys out of the way, that maybe we talked about too much. The ones we really should be talking about are at Cal and Utah and Texas A&M.
Yeah. My biggest takeaways were, number one, that brands matter too much. Brand, like that your name brand value matters way more than what you get put on the field. Because I mean, people over believe in Alabama after the Florida State game. Oh, and I've even heard a guy who I respect and who's really good at his job, Joel Klatt, talk about, oh, listen, I'm going to give this team the benefit of the doubt. Why? Why? What have they done through this beginning of the season to earn benefit of the doubt to stay in the top 10. If you don't want to stay, if you don't want to change your top 10 based upon the actual results on the field, I don't know what to tell you. And why is Vanderbilt ranked so low right now? It is perplexing to say the
That's
least.
interesting. That's interesting. They were exciting last year, but well, ultimately they finished what 7-6, and
Yeah,
so
they're like, yeah, that was cute. That was nice. And dude, and one slip up from them, ain't nobody giving them the benefit of the doubt. They're gonna be up out of there. The next one is that this is the most exciting college football season we've ever seen, ever. I mean, Lord have mercy. There is nobody that you can stand on business with right now and say, I am 100% sure that that's the best team in the nation. Nobody right now. And then my third biggest takeaway was just that, and I know that this is going to sound frustrating to some people, but we need to stop like being so like demanding immediate results. That sometimes it takes time to build things. And sometimes you have to figure out that like your team or your university is not that university that's going to be a competitive like that you're going to have national championship aspirations every single year. Some years you're just going to be okay. Some years you're just going to be good. That doesn't mean that you should go 5-7, but the expectations you're going to go 10-2 every single year, that ain't, I mean, if you're at Iowa State, that's not your reality. And then the last thing is that I know it's only supposed to have three, but the last one is that the powers that be will try to ruin college football. Like that greed and power corrupt college football. And with that, I mean this idea that all the conferences are going to do what the ACC is doing, which is, oh, the teams that get the highest TV ratings, they get the most money. And all it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy of of elitism that only the people who are established at the top, it's like a class, like a caste system. Either you are the in the upper echelon of the caste or you're nothing. And that's actually the
yeah,
thing that will kill college football. And and my team, right, where I played at, the Oregon Ducks, they used to be a have not, and now they are a have. Like they've grown up, little engine that could flex your muscles, all of this stuff. And even though that there was advantages with having Nike and Phil Knight and all that stuff, like you still had to build it. And there have been rough patches, there have been great things that have happened, everything in between. And if you unevenly distribute the money, there is no chance to do that. And you are going to ruin college football when in reality, competitive balance, like what we have more of this year, that's actually the thing that is great for college football. When you can go from sugar to shit and shit to sugar in 1 year, like Florida State may be doing right now, that is the greatness of college football. Well, of
I
what
agree
college
with you.
football can be, excuse me, because it's not that right now.
I agree with you. I think that too many of these university presidents and conference commissioners are treating college football like it's a gas station bathroom. Like it's not enough to just go in there and do your business. You got to carve your name in the door to prove you were there. Like Greg Sankey was here.
Yeah,
Like someone carves Brett Yormark and Greg Sankey comes in and like is a loser.
yeah,
It's just it's
exactly.
they just want people to know that they're there moving stuff around. It's already great. We don't have to do things just to do things. We don't have to do that. And so, you know,
Because
um
somebody's always going to have something to complain about. Like they're like, "Oh my god, USC is unhappy. Ohio State is unhappy. Alabama's complaining about their schedule. So what? Shut up and leave then. I mean, damn. Everybody is going to be complaining about something. Think about your actual life, right? Is you go to a restaurant that is a highly regarded restaurant. I don't like the seasoning on the food because my wife makes it a different way. My mom used to make it that way. My son puts a little more fat in his sausage than the local barbecue place does. So I'm complaining, oh, I don't like it. I don't really like honey barbecue sauce. I'm like mine with a little more hickory. So it was just okay. And then the next person's like, bro, it's the greatest meal I've ever had in my whole life. Somebody else, yeah, it was solid. It was good. So, is the restaurant supposed to change the entire menu, change their sauce because they got a complaint from one out of every 25 customers when their average rating is 4.7, 4.8, and they're going to change it because of the point 2? Absolutely not.
It's interesting. It's interesting because I think your mindset on this is it's very like if you give a mouse a cookie. Like if you start acquiescing to somebody, you got to do it for everybody, and then you're just in this massive echo chamber of unfairness. And I'm over here looking at it as more of like a legacy play. Like there are people in charge who just want to prove that they existed. Like the reason Donald Trump wants to buy Greenland,
To
because it's
say
like evidence that I was here and did a thing. Is it
rename the Gulf of
necessary?
America. Like,
Yeah, yeah. But that's proof that you were there. You made a dent, even if it's symbolic. And so I think a lot of people are extraordinarily concerned with legacy. But I also think you're right. I think once you start giving in, it opens the door for people to think that they deserve to be heard in some way. And maybe some of these colleges are like mini democracies, but for the most part, when you give power over to a conference or over to an organizing institution like the NCAA, then participate. Just participate, because it is, you know, and at the same time, it would be nice to know that they were serving the fans of the individual institutions over the television audience at large, because that's the hardest thing to swallow. 11 p.m. kickoffs for Michigan State are not good. 9 a.m. kickoffs for Oregon are not good, but we'll make those sacrifices so that everybody can, get rich, and that that's fine. But you leave your audience, your actual audience, way more things and room to complain about when they know that they're not the priority.
that's a fact, Jack. That's a fact. All right. All right. So now let's get to the things of the week. Where are we starting at, Ralph?
Well, I want to know about your trip to your studio's in Miami.
No, 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 no. So
So
see
what I
this.
want to ask you is, you had your first weekend on the CW. How'd it go?
It was long. First of all, it was long. So it was the South Florida Miami pregame, and we were supposed to do a 30-minute pregame show, halftime, postgame. We knew that there were some potential thunderstorms. I had a feeling in my gut that we were going to get a stoppage for lightning, and we did. And the time kept getting pushed back. And so we ended up on doing like an extra hour and 37 minutes of work. Now, granted, I was not mad at that. I was so excited to be there and I was happy. I felt like I was in my bag. It was, and I got more and more comfortable as the show went on. It was fun. I got an hour and a half of extra reps, which was amazing. Um, yeah, so I can't wait. This week it'll be Georgia Tech Temple pregame, so I'm juiced.
How did you like working with your colleagues there?
So I liked that was my first time around Michael Bumpus. Liked him a lot. He's super cool, good guy. First time
You
working
said
with my
he's from the Northwest.
yeah, he went to Wazoo. And
Oh,
then
okay.
he lives in Seattle, does radio, TV stuff out there, and all of that.
Just the Washington Haters Club out there then.
um, and then Mike, yeah, dude, I felt like I was watching Tom Brady play football. Like, get a chance to watch his preparation, get a chance. Dude, Mike Yam is a pro's pro. It is incredible to watch this dude work. Like, he's part producer, part like he understands the blocks and script. Like, he gets it. And I was just sitting there, and initially, because this was my first time doing a pregame show like that in a while, right? So it felt like initially that I was playing Frogger. Like I was just trying not to get run over by the semi. And then when we had the the break, the lightning delay, oh man, that's when it started. I was like, oh, okay, let me spread these wings. Fly, young butterfly, fly.
I will say, you asked me about like, did you have the right pair of shoes going in? And then I found that to be incredibly distracting.
What do you
I
mean?
don't think if we, I just don't think if we had had that conversation, I wouldn't have been staring at your shoes the whole time.
Oh,
But you asked me beforehand, and then so I for the entire first segment, I was just staring at your shoes, like, did did we make the right choice here? Why was I included on? Does this
hey,
matter?
we made the right choice because them joints was comfortable. I had them Cole Hines on. I was ready to stand for an hour and a half straight.
So anytime Mike Gam gets brought up, I do love probably the thing I like most about him. He's so good at his job, but that he used his medium and the the niche notoriety that being the host of all the Pac-12 shows brings you to write a children's book called Fried Rice and Marinara. And so if anybody wants to support Mike Yam that's watching this podcast or listening to this podcast,
So
pick
did I
that
tell
book
you I
up
bought a
for your
copy of the
kids.
book?
Yes, you did tell me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and my 6-year-old likes the book a lot.
That's cool. Shout out Mike Yam, children's author and Tom Brady of halftime, post game, pregame shows.
Yes. All right. What's up next?
So your boy Deshaun Foster got fired, and I just want to know how you feel about it. You went out there, you interviewed him. They had a really strong ending to last season. They got an exciting addition at quarterback. We did some pretty extensive previews of that team, and then they went out and they just didn't have it. It just wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I just want to know what you're thinking and feeling about that. And I know you're kind of close to the UCLA program as well.
All right. So on one hand, I'm disappointed. I was hoping that he would get a little bit longer, like a couple weeks after the bye week, to try to get things fixed because there was a lack of physicality, a lack of tackling, all of that stuff. But at the same time, it's a results-based business, and people are very, very impatient in college football. And so I understand why it happened, but I also look at the world that we live in now because you're operating in the transfer portal. It would be like if Florida State had the ability to fire Mike Norvell last year. It was just so cost prohibitive that they couldn't. Like there's a world where he would have gotten fired last year. And then this Alabama thing doesn't happen. So Deshaun finished the season well last year and then opened up bad again this year. So, and he's a young first time head coach in his really in his first year because last year was he got the job so late he didn't even get a chance to bring in his own recruiting class, none of that. So maybe he transfer portal bad because of that. So you didn't even give the dude a chance to fix it. But I do understand like the malcontent of UCLA fans. So he bore the brunt of Chip Kelly's lack of success. that he ended up the whipping boy for for what happened with Chip Kelly. So while he's responsible for the product on the field, I do believe as well that you have to give somebody an opportunity to fix it. Well, sorry, excuse me. You don't have to, but you probably should. Like that would be prudent. And when this next coach comes in, they're going to have patience. And the reason why they're going to have patience is because they're probably going to hire if I were them, outside of DeAnton Lynn, I'm probably not going at the top of my list from guys who are not experienced head coaches. I need somebody who is a rebuilder. This is why some of my top choices were Chris Peterson, retired head coach, because he built at Boise, he built at Washington. He's a do the right thing kind of guy. I have Kalani Sitake on there, build it kind of guy. People put Jonathan Smith on there, but I don't think Jonathan Smith would necessarily, even though he's a SoCal guy, leave Michigan State for another Big Ten job when you're kind of in the same situation. You know what I mean? Unless his staff is like, like let's go to Cali, bro. We can do it.
Can they
And
afford his staff? Can UCLA, even if UCLA could afford him, could they afford his staff?
I think that there's enough money surrounding UCLA and invested in their that would be invested in their success of the right hire. I hate the Dave Aranda thing, and only because he hasn't had enough success at Baylor. That's the only reason. I think he's a good coach, but I mean, it looks like it's working at Baylor now, but their defense is still trash. So, like, you need somebody who's going to build it, who is going to put together a hard-nosed, physical football team that's going to be a relentless recruiter, but not be willing to take shortcuts. Like, you need a Matt Campbell kind of guy there, but with enough juice for LA.
Can
This is
I throw
why
a
I
couple
kind
of
of like if you
surprise?
were going to go non-experienced head coach, which I don't think is a good idea, but Tosh Lupoy might be an answer because his recruiting is going to put good players on the field. And I think he's smart enough to know that he's not the smartest guy in the room and he's been around Alabama, he's been in the NFL. Like he's been around so many coaches that his Rolodex is probably pretty deep. And that's where I think that Deshaun Foster may have struggled is that his Rolodex wasn't quite as deep in terms of people that he would be able to get to work for him initially.
Can I give you a name that I haven't heard anybody float out there?
Who?
Ed Orgeron.
Oh, oh God. I love that and I hate it at the same time, Ralph. Like I love it because I think Ed Orgeron wants to be back in coaching. Oh, wait. Never mind. I love it a little bit more. Actually, I love it for the same reasons. Because do you know how much he would love to stick it to USC?
Yeah.
And he'll show up today.
Yeah.
Man, so then you don't even have to wait till after Thanksgiving to get your coach. You can take your coach now. That actually
Just let
might
him
beat it.
just hire him and let him recruit. Like he doesn't have anything to do with he'll build his staff. He'll evaluate the staff that's there now, decide who he wants to keep. You can get him recruiting right now, which is his absolute strength. You get him out doing media round stuff, like people eat up everything he has to say. Um, I'm just because I'm racking my brain,
You on
like
to something.
some of these names, because even if you do get an innovative offensive guy like Will Stein, who you said doesn't have a lot of connections in that area, they're going to want some control over them calling an offense or yada yada yada. That didn't work with Chip Kelly, and so I think and Deshaun Foster, like to have expected him to have the connections to bring in everybody that he wanted on such short notice. The one thing I have noticed is that all of the people that are closest to the situation are blaming Martin Jarmond for not firing Chip Kelly as an incoming athletic director, for like having the intestinal fortitude and the balls to break up the Pac 12, but not the balls to shape the program by bringing in a head coach. And that's been an interesting thing from, David Woods, Bill Plaschke.
Yeah.
And then there's also this news from Tony Siracusa that says 100 former alumni all got on a Zoom call with Martin Jarmond. I wonder what that was like.
You better open up your pocketbooks, is what I'd have told him. All right, cool. I understand you want our coach gone, blah blah blah. All right, but where's your commitment? I understand you want to see better. Where's your commitment?
Well, let's move across the coast because I think somebody we were both rooting for. It's just easy to root for nice guys.
Yeah.
Brent Pry. I think college football is more fun when Virginia Tech is good. The really strange thing, even from living out here, I'm only 3 hours from Blacksburg. The really strange thing out here is that Virginia Tech does have a level of respect.
Yes.
But it's more Frank Beamer.
Yes.
It's like it doesn't, like, the respect for Virginia Tech doesn't have a lot to do with anything outside of his era at all.
Correct.
And you would think, because like Nebraska, people think, even though they haven't done anything in ages, they still think of them as like a college football blue blood that, if in the right scenario, could do what Saban did at Alabama.
Yeah.
People feel that way about a lot of brands. You brought up brands. For some reason, Virginia Tech doesn't have that juice as a brand. It all just goes to Frank Beamer.
I remember how good they were with Frank Beamer. Oh, I remember Beamer ball, man. They should be good again. That's what you, man. That'd be cool if they were good again, because them playing Enter Sandman down 11 million points to Old Dominion, that feels, you should just vacate the song that day. I'd have been like, we're not playing it today. I'm sorry.
Maybe they really did want to be put to sleep. Like it made the song very literal at that point. Who do you like for this? Because I'll tell you what I don't like. There's the phrase "hire the sun" was trending, and I don't think the answer is nostalgia. I don't think ruining Shane Beamer's, because he played at Virginia Tech. He was raised in that town. I don't know if that works for everybody. I don't like it.
No. You know who they should hire, but they won't?
Who?
Ryan Silverfield from Memphis.
I think that one is almost like too on the nose, but I think Ryan Silverfield at this point has a better track record at Memphis than Mike Norvell did, and he's going to get to be picky, I believe.
Yes. But why don't you think that they're going to hire him there? Who did they hire right before Pry?
Justin Fuente from Memphis.
Yep.
That's interesting. Yeah, but in the same way that I don't think nostalgia is the answer, I don't think getting caught up in where somebody came from is necessarily the answer.
But people do. Like they're like, USC quarterbacks always think, or this, whatever it is, being that nothing has nothing to do with nothing.
I was watching this the other day. Like, people were like, well, do we draft Jordyn Tyson given that Frank Darby, Jalen Strong, and N'Keal Harry didn't have good NFL careers? And I was like, what do they
it's not even
have
the same
to do?
coach? Not even same coach, same offensive system, same human
body styles, talents. Yeah.
Nothing.
Transfer portal means like they started at other colleges.
Yeah.
But in that, I don't know. That's how I feel about Ryan Silverfield. What about the really obvious name that people are floating around in Jon Gruden? I kind of love him for that town.
Ooh, that is a Jon Gruden town. I'm not buying into the Jon Gruden is going to be good for college football thing. He's a celebrity. He's an entertainer. He's not a. I don't know if he's a football coach anymore.
You
He
sound
wouldn't even
like
have success at the Raiders last time. Like, stop. This is sports washing. You get famous on TV. You become a social media celebrity, and you get washed all and cleaned all up, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, that's our guy. No, he's still the same guy.
you're the one that sounds like you had to root for a team coached by Herm Edwards, and you sound like everybody that you were arguing with when Colorado hired Deion Sanders. But Deion Sanders had coached at Jackson State, like he had the proof was
Yes,
in the
exactly.
pudding. He had the experience, but you sound like somebody who had to like survive Herm. That's what you sound like. I talk to these ASU fans all day, every day.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so who your number one name is Ryan Silverfield? You just don't think it's going to happen.
Yes, correct.
Okay, last one, Jimbo Fisher.
No.
Okay, we'll keep it simple. So moving on to the next topic, AP voters are still kind of messing up a little bit. Again, we spent all last year naming these people, and now it feels like we were a year early on the trend of actually talking about these individual ballots. You text me this week about a couple of ballots in particular.
Yes.
Are we naming names? That's what we do here,
Yes,
right?
of course. We calling out
Okay, so
names like a 50
George,
Cent.
I want you to tell everybody when you called me this week to talk about Brenna Green, who covers your Oregon Ducks, and what your issue was with that particular AP ballot.
Dude, the num so and no, yes, this is a woman, but no, this is not the same woman from last week. So don't just think that oh my God, see, that's the same one from last week. She sucks. No, the, the men suck at this too. Um, dude, she put South Carolina at number 10. This had to be an accident, right? Like she must have misread the score. Because we talked to Jon Wilner, and last week he admitted that sometime that happened to him once in in all his years of voting, and it was in basketball, and he turned in a weird ballot. I do not believe that. Oh, so she put South Carolina at number 10 after they got beat by 24 points by Vanderbilt, and 3-0 Vanderbilt, who's beaten two Power Four teams, I believe, unranked. Make it make sense.
I don't think you can. But so the when you say you talked to Jon Wilner, it wasn't off air. It was here.
Yes,
It
it
was
was.
on this Thursday show live. You can go to Unafraid show on YouTube and you can watch that interview with Jon Wilner. It was fascinating. Um, but I think after listening to you talk to Jon Wilner, some of these mistakes make a lot more sense because of the deadline. Can you tell people about what he told you
Oh
about how the
yes,
actual voting works?
yes. The deadline is 8 a.m. Pacific time. Is when their ballots have to be in. And if you're on the West Coast, you don't finish your actual job until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. He was like that. That's when he's starting his ballot because he
Same,
doesn't want
same
to do it in the
coast.
morning and oversleep because you don't know exactly how much time that you're going to have. So if you wait to do it in the morning and you're on the East Coast, yeah, you get up at 8, but then how about when you're like, like your dog throws up in the morning, your kid's sick, you're trying to do the ballot and you're like, "Oh, damn, let me hurry up." And then East Coast voters are going to sleep. So they don't even you think that they're going to see the end of that Michigan State USC game next week?
As someone who was nodding off during Arizona State, Texas State at 1:45 in the morning this last week, probably not.
Exactly. And then to do
Especially if
your
you got
ballot
kids.
after that, or
Yeah,
do a ballot when you're that damn tired.
it did give me some sympathy because, and I know this has happened to you a million times. It's happened to me a million times, and I think either people that are watching this have done this or had it happen to them. You have a nice peaceful evening at home. Everybody got sit down around the dinner table. Everybody shares something they're thankful about. Crack a couple of jokes. You watch a TV show together. Everybody takes a bath. You get the good night hugs. You tuck the little one in and you look at your spouse and you're like, man, we might actually have like 45 minutes an hour to just hang out tonight. And all of a sudden one of your kids sits up in bed and they're like, I have a diorama due tomorrow.
Yeah,
So you have to go to it's 10 at night on a Tuesday, and you got to drive down to CVS, get poster board, and all of a sudden you're doing a third grader's project at 1:15 in the morning. It's probably not going to turn out the best project ever. That's how the
exactly.
ballot is every single week. That's how the voting process is every single week. You finish up your work, it's exhausting, and then you're like, oh, I gotta solve a puzzle. I gotta do the New York Times crossword for the next hour before I shut my eyes. Or
Yes.
you risk it. You go to sleep and you risk it. So I definitely, after listening to Jon Wilner, I have a lot more sympathy for what some of these voters are going through. You still can't mess up
Oh, I
that bad,
definitely want
though.
to vote now. I that made me want to vote even more. Yeah, so we will be pressing for that sort of action.
Are you sure you want to vote, George? Because you could actually become, instead of an AP voter, the next football czar of the SEC. There's an article
Ooh,
on Football Scoop by Zach Barnett, and it says there's a newly created position that doesn't outrank Greg Sankey, but it will run football for the conference. And here's the job solicitation. The associate commissioner for football will provide leadership and oversight for football operations, policy, and stakeholder engagement within the Southeastern Conference. This role serves as the conference's primary liaison to head football coaches, football administrators, and national organizations, ensuring alignment with the SEC's mission and responsiveness to the evolving collegiate athletics landscape. Does that sound like a job for you, George Wrighster?
no, no. It sounds like a job that in fairy tale land, if I could do what I wanted to do, yes. But that's too tempting to get corrupted into SEC only thinking and not do what's best for college football. And if I try to do what's best for college football instead of doing what's best for the SEC, I'm going to get fired. So, I need to be over the all of college football. So then I can thump the SEC, thump the Big Ten, thump the ACC, thump the Big Ten when you try to do things that are not in the best interests of college football, the student athletes, and the fans. Those are the three people that matter. That's it. Everybody else comes in after that. So it's college football as a whole to grow the game, to make the game more popular, in the long term and in the short term.
Do
The
you know what
student
this job
athletes
sounds like to me?
and the fans.
Do you know what this job sounds like to me?
What?
Greg Sankey is sick of answering his phone.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, hey, yo, you talk to them, bro.
Yeah,
Um,
I think they're on his ass, and I think he wants somebody to hold his phone.
that's
It's not a
that's legit.
secretary job, but it's not somebody who's going to be making any decisions that Greg Sankey doesn't set the
Oh, it's
policy
like
for
the
or disagree with.
lieutenant governor.
Yeah, yeah. Like back when Adam Silver would, his whole job was just reading the second round pick
Yeah.
European names out
Okay.
loud, so David
Yeah.
Stern didn't have to.
Exactly. Yep. And you're
And
kind of
then
the
like,
commissioner in waiting, maybe.
yeah, and then like punishing players for not dressing in suits on the sideline or whatever. Yeah, I think he just is. I think they've been on his ass, and I think he wants to enjoy. So maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this means that Greg Sankey will be less manipulative of the entire process because he just needs some distance from these people for a minute.
I like that. I love where your head's at right there.
I just want someone to answer the phone and be like, "Sorry, Brett. Uh, sorry, Tony. He's in a meeting." That's pretty
Yeah.
much what this job is. Well, speaking of making college football more popular, apparently this is controversial. I don't fully understand it, but in the ESPN broadcast of the South Carolina uh, Vanderbilt game, Theo Vaughn, comedian and podcaster, was on the sideline. And your boy Cole Kubalik, he got a sideline interview with him, and the topic ended up being that if Vanderbilt beat South Carolina, that Theo Vaughn gets a date with Diego Pavia's mom. Uh, Absolute insanity could only happen in college football. One of the funniest things of the weekend. I saw Clay Travis saying that people were mad about it. I don't think it's football fans. but I
Well,
just was
because
wondering
they're
what
like,
your
you
your
can't be
take was.
pimping out his mom and this, and this. All right. So, but then Diego, to make the story a little more interesting, Diego Pavia was like, "Yo, the only deal was it was like a trade. So that as long as you can get me a deal with this country music singer, I'm in." So we
So
don't
what?
know if it's actually going to happen now because this is
No.
a date barter. Something about that in 2025 probably don't sit right with a lot of people. But
I,
if the women are fine with it, you shouldn't have a problem.
like giving your mom away with a dowry. Like that's what people are looking at.
You gotta
She,
get you gotta give 6 cows and
yeah,
and a plot of land.
yes. I so here's the deal about Diego Pavia's mom. She's a human, an autonomous human being who is able to make decisions for herself. So I don't think anything is happening against her will. The whole thing is weird. I become less comfortable when it actually is a barter and not like a 10 things I hate about you challenge, where it's like, all right, I'll let you go on a date as long as your sister is a has a boyfriend as well. I'm not letting you date until your sister is like
Dude,
promised off first,
when I
which is
heard
like
this, all I
Shakespeare,
could think
Taming of the Shrew.
was the two things popped into my head when and I don't know why. I was like, Stacy's mom has got it going on. And then the other thing I thought about was Stifler's mom from
I don't
American
think
Pie.
I don't know if we should be thinking about that. Yeah, fun
I was
fact.
ready for
Stif-
Stifler's mom, to be honest with you, when I first saw the movie, but that was a whole nother weird
can I
fetish.
give
But
you a little bit of a fun fact that'll make you feel ancient?
please don't tell me how old that movie is.
It's not about how old the movie is. It's that Jennifer, whatever her name is, the actress that played Stifler's mom, in that movie was supposed to be 38. So you are what, 5, 6 years older
Yeah,
than
I'm
Stifler's
44.
mom was in American Pie.
How long ago was that?
How long ago did that movie come out? I think over 20 years.
Oh God, so she's
Getting
at
probably close to
least
25.
so she's at least in her like because she had to be in her 40s at that point in time or older. So oh God, so she might be 70 something now.
But just the idea that you are like you're thinking of this movie as like, oh, she's so much older. You're older than she was by a lot in the movie.
Oh damn. Aging sucks.
Time keeps slipping into the future. All right, so not I think the most obvious thing here that nobody's talking about is one person is a comedian and one person is hilarious. And this is
Yes.
probably just the thing that is funny and not serious at all. But I this is my last thing before we get to Wrighster or Wrong. Um, who from this current quarterback pool that is draft eligible going into next year are you confident if you were an NFL GM that you would use a first round pick on today, based on what we've seen this season only? Early part of the season has to be draft eligible. Who are the first round quarterbacks in your mind as of September 16th?
That I would use a first round pick on that I'm sure about right now. All right.
Yep.
Let's go. Dante Moore. I feel
In the
confident about that.
2026 draft.
In the 2026 draft.
Yeah, like the next NFL draft that
Okay.
happens.
Yeah, I'll stand on business with that one.
Okay.
Um, Now this kid is not draft eligible, but I think he's been the best young quarterback in college football right now, and that's Jaron Kiwi Sagapuatelli over there at Cal. He is everything that people thought that Dylan Raiola, DJ Lagway, and Arch Manning were going to be. He is the guy that's standing on business right now and is out there absolutely balling. But I know he's not draft eligible or draft ready yet, but still. Oh, I would probably draft Sawyer Robertson.
Okay.
Um, And oh, but number one on the list, it would probably be I was getting ready to say Jackson Arnold. I meant John Mateer. Now,
So he's like a top pick to you.
yeah, he needs to his accuracy needs to improve some because he pushes so the ball kind of sails every now and then. But yeah, I think that he's a guy who can develop if you put him in the right system into a really good NFL quarterback, and that his legs are good enough to buy him a couple of years to, while he improves the rest of this. Um,
So no, so after Lenoris got knocked out, because he did get knocked out, he wasn't playing well. That drops Lenoris out of the first round for you. Not even like Lamar Jackson 32 hole.
I don't know about Lenoris yet. Like he was still in a wait and see mode for me. As potential, yes, he's got a shot.
Okay, what about a guy who stepped in and is running an offense really, really well right out of the gate? He's got the height, and he's got the arm, and he's got the experience, and he fits
Chambliss.
all the criteria that you talked about of what should go into draft. Bill Parcells rules. Carson Beck.
I knew you were going to say Carson Beck. He fits the criteria, so yes, Carson Beck should.
But Bo Nix range, like 25 to 30.
He just has too many bad turnovers sometimes. And the South Florida game, he threw two picks that he shouldn't have. Like those weren't good picks. Like he has too many turnover worthy plays, but he's a good quarterback. Like he doesn't give me Kenny Pickett vibes. I think he's better than Kenny Pickett.
And how about the quarterback that seems to only have one receiver, but over the offseason magically turned into college Kyler Murray with his legs, Sam Levitt.
I'm not sold on Sam yet. Now, granted, there's still a lot of season left. I and and the reason why is I need to see how he finishes the season because he's dealt with a lot of this hype and all of this stuff in the off season. And once if he transitions like to dealing with that part well, then yeah.
If I was an NFL GM, I would risk my whole job. If I had a pick in the late 20s, early 30s, you would watch me drop a pick on Brendan Sorsby and probably get a golden parachute a year later because people would be very upset. But I
That's not
am
horrible. I'm gonna
I'm
tell you,
still a fan.
I'm
I'm
not
still a fan.
mad at that. Or yeah, I'm not mad at that at all. I'm not mad.
People are going to always point to that Nebraska game like Nebraska hasn't given up 67, 67, and 69 yards passing in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I think that they're pretty elite in coverage. All right, so that it puts us in our Wrighster or wrong segment. Um, I'm just going to give you some things, and you tell me if the person involved was Wrighster
Okay.
or wrong. First up, you've already mentioned him on this show, Memphis head coach Ryan Silverfield. Um, he was doing his weekly radio show, I believe maybe yesterday, earlier today, and he decided to take a little shot at University of Georgia. And he said he shows his team clips of things that are not the Memphis standard every game week. And the not our standard is Georgia wide receiver arrested for driving 900 miles per hour over the speed limit. That's a weekly occurrence, so that's one of the things we'll show. Right, Reister wrong for going public with that.
He's wrong for going public with it, but he's Reister for doing it. He's Reister for doing it because he's like, listen, we ain't gonna have this problem around these parts. So make good decisions because I ain't gonna deal with it the same way Kirby deals with this.
At
So
what point is it no longer a taboo for people to just mention the insane number of traffic based infractions in Athens, Georgia, especially because the cornerstone of those things resulted in the death of a player? At some point, when can people talk openly about it and not be like, oh, are we going to get the wrath of Kirby Smart? When his own players don't seem to even be getting that
Mm.
wrath when they transgress, even though some
Bro,
of those players have been cut.
this is what winning will do for you. If Kirby Smart were, if he had the same record as like, let me find a coach. If he had the same record as hell, even Jonathan Smith, Jed Fish, uh, you know, Drinkowitz, a lot of other, most other college football coaches, even successful ones. If this were happening and you're not winning national championships, bro, they'd have fired his ass so fast. They'd have been like, nah, bro, we not. You're clearly not fit to lead this program.
All right, can I go galaxy brain on you and
Okay.
have you respond? Okay. What if, because you said that he's wrong for going public with it, like Stephen A. Smith style? You're not wrong, shouldn't have said it, but do you think that was a wink to Florida fans? Because there's a
Oh, he would
chance.
be an excellent hire. I'm not saying that they should fire Billy, but that would be a hire right there, boy.
And he's already taken a shot at one of your biggest rivals.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I'm not mad at it. Not mad at all.
Okay, so Wrighster or wrong? And I'm talking about me, and what I'm about to say out loud. Ole Miss should, and I think they are, but Ole Miss should stick with Austin Simmons at quarterback
Wrong.
instead of maybe looking at Trinidad Chambliss, who looked
Wrong.
incredible.
Wrong. 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 It is unfortunate that, you know, this is sports. Bad things happen to good people sometimes. And Chambliss is what? He came in that first game against Georgia State and, 4 for 6, 59 yards, a touchdown. And his last game against Arkansas, 21 for 29, 353 and a tutty. He also rushed for another 15 times for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hey, man, he's the starting quarterback until he's not the starting quarterback.
Really?
Bro, it's not like Simmons had established himself as the guy, and then this guy just comes in and plays well. No, that hadn't happened. So it's his job right now.
So you don't factor in that he had locked in that backup role, that everybody was excited to move to him this season, and it wasn't like he hasn't done anything to say like, oh, this is guy's going to be elite, but he also hasn't done anything to say like, oh, he's not going to be.
Yeah.
But Trinidad Chambliss looked like a freaking superstar and a half
Yes.
against
Exactly.
Arkansas's defense. Could have been just Arkansas's defense,
It
but
could be. It could be. And we may switch
he looked
back.
good.
And we might switch back. But for right now, this the direction we're going.
Interesting. Okay, are BYU fans Reister or wrong to still believe that they'll be absolutely fine without Jake Retzlaff? And maybe not absolutely fine, but better off, equal or better off, because Jake Retzlaff put Tulane on his back and and laid the wood on Duke.
That's 100% Reister. They're BYU. They'll find another quarterback long term, all that stuff, and they're still winning football games. But they're wrong because Kalani Sitake in his press conference was asked about the UCLA job, and he didn't pull a Dan Lanning and say, "Nah, bro, I'm not effing leaving." He was like, "Man, we got to stay focused on East Texas, whoever they're playing." And some directional school. And he was like, "Yeah, listen, we're not getting distracted on anything else. These guys, they know they can talk to me about anything and blah, blah, blah." That wasn't a no. Now, I appreciate him for not just coming out and lying about it, but That wasn't a no. So they may not be all right because they might be looking for a new head coach.
Yeah, but I think BYU has so many people that they could choose from that they'll ultimately be fine. I mean, Jason Beck, if that offense takes Utah to the college football playoff, he's BYU alum. They could replace Kalani Sitake with him, and everybody would be super excited, and they'd be fine. And I know that they didn't have a choice on whether or not they stuck with Jake Retzlaff. It'd have to be like a long suspension or something like that, and that was never going to happen. But so many BYU fans were 100% sure that if anything, Jake Retzlaff held them back last year.
Yeah.
So to watch what he did rushing for 4 touchdowns against Duke this last weekend, it was like, oh, what if Tulane goes to the college football playoff?
Yep, exactly.
So
that's fair.
I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Wrighster or wrong? Wrighster or wrong? Gary Patterson, who served as the head referee for the game between Syracuse and UConn, and has been with the ACC since 2002, since you first got to the NFL, George. He was Wrighster or wrong for just quitting, just quitting when there was a dispute with the ACC office and the command center over
and
a
they
replay.
made him
He
review a play that shouldn't have been reviewed.
Yeah, and he reacted like that one flight attendant who just popped the slide on the plane, grabbed a beer, and slid down it, like the most epic quit ever. He's been on this job for 24 years, and he was like, all right, I'm over it.
He was like, dude, I'm sick of this. Because this wasn't the first. You don't quit just when this happens the first time. This is multiple times of whatever, or the boss trying to get him to do stuff that he don't believe in and stand by. And he was right. He was like, listen, I ain't got to do this no more. I'm out of here. Sayonara.
What ended up happening was they reviewed a first down play to see whether Steve Angeli had fumbled. But they had already snapped the next play, and apparently.
All right, so we had a little technical issue, but we back. So we're gonna let Ralph finish his thought right now.
Whose fault was a technical issue?
What do you mean?
Whose fault was it? Because that's what's going on in the Gary Patterson thing. Is I think they, in explaining it to the coaches, they said, "Hey, he didn't hear us. He should have stopped the game. It's not our fault that you ran another play, and that we're going back in time to adjust." And Gary Patterson's response, I believe his response in his resignation, was essentially, "When we didn't hear it, you don't get to interfere in the game. We're the refs. You're not here. So you're not going to blame us. If there was an issue communicating it, it was
that's your fault. That is your fault if it's an issue. And it's just like if a play is missed or something like that, then you got to do what you got to do."
How long do you think he felt like a hero in his own mind before it settled in that he just quit his job of 23 years over a disagreement with his boss?
Oh, he been thinking about this for a minute,
and then it made
bro.
national news.
This didn't just pop up, bro. This didn't just pop up. He was like, man, I'm sick of this. Man, I'm going to mess around and quit on their ass. Watch. And then they did something else. He was like, I'm out. He got something else he ready to do. He ready to go hang out with his grandkids, travel, something. He was ready to be done anyway.
It would be so funny if they made him like the ACC person that talks about officiating on the broadcast, and he just every time they go to replay, he's just flaming them.
Yeah. Well, the mechanics for this are all broken, and this, and this.
Yeah. Oh man, I would love that. I would love a bitter ex-ref.
Yes.
Just dump it on the whole process every single time. So the last thing for Wrighster or wrong, and maybe the most important thing, something maybe we could have led with, but for the people that hung on, you're about to get a special treat. I'm going to try to phrase this in a less obvious way than everybody else has been talking about it. Wrighster or wrong, you, George, can identify with Brian Kelly's anger that they tried to piss in the Cheerios of that victory by asking him about third down efficiency, because Brian Kelly did go off on a reporter this week, and everybody's just been making fun of Brian Kelly for being emotional. But they just got a win in the SEC, and the first question he got was like, "Hey, how come you sucked?"
All right.
So for me, I'm like, I 100% get why he melted down. I get it. He shouldn't have done it.
Okay. It's one. So, as a formerly defensive person, right? Person who's been in therapy, who, who, who my
Not on the
default,
football field. You played tight end. We're talking about life.
yes, yes, person who's been defensive at times. I can understand being defensive, but the question wasn't wrong. They were 4 for 14 on third down, and they were 4 for 11 in the LSU game. They were bad against in the game they blew them out too. Like it just like their offense has not materialized into what you would have expected. So, like, yes, you're winning games, but this the same guy. Remember, he jumped on Dabo after Dabo was like, "Oh, we got a D. Oh, well, we got a F. They got a D." Well, it turns out LSU's played two bad offenses. They played Florida. They only scored 20 points against Florida, and they got 5 picks, including a pick six. So on offense, they got 4 additional picks and only scored 13 points.
And 13 points came off those turnovers. So the offense only manufactured that early
Yeah.
touchdown. That's it. Because the 2 field goals came immediately after a DJ Lagway pick, and then the other one was taken back for 6.
So what are we doing? Yes, your offense is busted up right now. So
Yeah,
and
it
his
just
level of arrogance and peacocking after that Clemson game was, oh Lord, I listened to him on Fine. Oh yeah, dude. He was peacocking maximum. So
I think he's funny. I enjoy it. I just it'd be like if you got your daughter, George, if you got her like impossible to get Taylor Swift tickets and you went to the concert with her, and right when you guys get to your seat, she's like, "These are the best seats you could get."
yes,
Like,
exactly.
that's the feeling that would well up on you. Like, man, I just gave you a win over Florida, where our defense that previously gave up over the last 3 years 35 points a game to ranked opponents just held them to
But that's
10 with
their
5
job.
interceptions.
Like that's the media's job is to, and you can get testy with him. I'm not mad at getting testy with him, but you can't do something because this is multiple times he's needed to come back and apologize.
Well, he gave him like a "What do you want from me?" Right. So, but when we watched that SEC show, what was the SEC show called? Any Given Saturday.
Yeah, we know what we want
So
from you. Better offense.
yeah, so when the most telling thing to me in that show is Brian Kelly in his house pouring a bottle of wine, and his dad was there, and his dad was kind of like Cotton Hill, like Hank Hill's dad, like a shorter, very serious man.
Yeah.
And this dude just goes home, talks to his dad, and his dad's asking him the same exact questions. I
Oh
feel like
yes.
I feel
Hey
like he
son,
was
what's up
like,
with you?
"I'm
Well,
gonna go
never mind.
home."
His dad ain't got that accent. Never mind.
Yeah. I feel like he's gonna go home and his dad's gonna be like, "What's the deal with third downs?" So he's
Yeah.
like already waiting on
How
getting
you
it when
gonna
he gets
fix this
home.
third down, son? Because you ain't gonna be able to keep this up and win. I'm gonna let you know that right now.
Because you're not gonna yell at his dad.
Exactly.
I think that reporter got something that was meant for maybe somebody else.
That part.
All right, so we got to our section where we talk about the 3 things that we're most excited for in this upcoming week. There's a lot. Yeah, I'm curious as to how you whittled it down to 3. But what are the things you are most excited for in week 4 of the college football slate?
Number one is trying to figure out why game day went to Miami versus Florida, 1-2 Florida, instead of going to go see Utah. Who's Utah playing again? Just did a preview on it, but
Oh my gosh, Texas Tech. What
yes,
possible Big 12 championship preview.
yes, and 2 teams that you haven't covered either place, whether it were in Lubbock or whether it was in Salt Lake City, you're going to get an amazing game day turnout. The fans are going to be electric. Like the game day experience, like this felt very SEC down south, good old boy choice instead of making the right choice. Hell, they could have went, but now I understand why they didn't go to Indiana, Illinois, even though that would have been cool. But I get it. But there were other options. Hell, they could have went back to Norman, Oklahoma for that game versus Auburn and still got an SEC team. This made
This
not a
is
lot of
true.
sense. This felt like a Kirk Herb Street. I don't want to travel real far because I want to go. I got something to do this weekend. Kind of pick.
That is true. That is true. What else are you? Well, I know you've been. I do not to jump you, but I do know you've had the Illinois Indiana game circled for
Yeah,
I don't know, like 6 months now.
yeah, we go find out who about that action, boss. Who about that action?
I have a feeling
Um,
I know who you think is about that action.
I do. I think Illinois is about that action. I do. I do. I'm riding with Brett. He is him and the Ducks are my last hope right now. In terms of like teams that aren't expected to be like crazy good, but are. And then I'm also looking forward. So that was one of my things, but I'm also looking forward to seeing what in the world is up with hold up, let me pull up the game so I don't misquote them. um oh, this Nebraska Michigan game, Lord have mercy.
That's all I can think about. That's all I can think about is Matt Rule's biggest opportunity, maybe Nebraska's biggest opportunity in 7 years to show any signs of life whatsoever.
Yep.
It's huge.
Yep. Yeah, they must win this game, must. And then
You're right. Like you are 100% right. It's a week 4 must win.
yep.
It's crazy.
And then the last thing is, I can't wait to see this Michigan State USC game on Saturday, boy. Oh Lord, I can't wait to see this game. Oh, I am itching. USC fans have been crying. Oh, show us some love. Show us some love. You beat Michigan State, we'll start to show you some love. I ranked you this week, so
Well, so here's a thing that I find very very interesting. Um, Tickets to USC Michigan State are still available for as low as $49. Do you know what the
really,
lowest ticket price for 3-0 Cal at San Diego State is? Kicking off just 2.5 hours down the road?
yes,
$77. It's
really.
more expensive to get in to see Cal play at San Diego State than it is to get into the Coliseum right now. And
I
the
thought you're
minimum
supposed to be
ticket price.
so excited, all in, everything else. You can't sell out against Michigan State.
That's what's interesting to me. Like and so just on that note, the Deion Sanders effect, right? Of just being there in Boulder, even though they're 1-2, the minimum ticket price to see Wyoming, not even like a Power Four team, is $120 right now. It's more than double.
Yep.
To see Michigan State come to LA for a nighttime kickoff, and so we say that there's people complaining, but like there really isn't. The same national energy about USC of not buying in is happening within the program. So unless that part gets fixed, I don't really know what we're doing here.
100%. What are you looking forward to this weekend?
There's a reverse cross country game that's going on at the exact same time where BYU is having to play in Greenville, North Carolina, essentially on the beach at East Carolina. And I think they're coming off a bye and they've been so dominant. I'm really, really interested to see if they just keep dropping 50-60 on people, because that's a East Coast game for
Yeah.
BYU. So that one to me is fascinating. Um, Obviously, if John Mateer against this Auburn defense does what he's been doing the last few weeks, even though at some point you do have to not throw an interception every game. If he continues to do what he has been doing, I think he automatically becomes the Heisman front runner.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then the other
next
thing,
week we're gonna have Brett Ciancia on
oh
Thursday
nice,
to talk Heisman voting and stuff like that. And on this Thursday we're gonna have Chris Fallica.
I love the Thursday guests. If people didn't have not again, if you haven't seen the Jon Wilner show, it is so illuminating on a topic. And a lot of people are mad at Jon Wilner directly. So, like to go in and to hear how he goes about his process, um, he lays it all out, all of it. And so, definitely make sure you're tuned into these Thursday lives. It's part of the Unafraid show. Then the other one's a toss up for me. I can't decide if it's a Tulane Ole Miss or if it's a if I'm excited about Utah Texas Tech, because again, one could be a Big 12 championship preview, but it's still so early in the season. And this is kind of the first real game. But now that we know how bad UCLA is, it's kind of the first real game for either team. So I'm not putting a ton of stock into it. Utah is favored, but the styles are so different. And you and I remember from the Pac 12 that Utah didn't always handle air raid concepts very well. And that's essentially what Texas Tech runs, even though they're really heavy on the run as well.
Yeah.
But I also don't see anybody on this Texas Tech defense, even though that they spent a lot of money on that defensive line. I don't see anybody who can cover sideline to sideline if Devin Dampier is running around. So that's a
Yeah, this
big
team.
one.
Yes, that's a major one. I can't wait to see that one because you're gonna find out what's what and who's who. And but this Texas Tech money does look like it's been well spent, though.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's like 10 TFLs and 7 sacks between just the 5 defensive linemen that they bought. And I say bought, but like that's not an insult to them.
Yeah,
That's what they wanted to do, was to buy a new D line. Like that Cody Campbell responded to somebody asking him to buy them a new defensive line. He was like, okay, I will. So it's not meant to be an insult. The other thing is, if Tulane beats Ole Miss in Oxford, they're far and away, far like a million miles away in position to be a college football playoff team. And Notre Dame needs to start worrying, I think.
yeah, yeah. Oh yes, 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 yes. They need a lot of help. They need Texas A&M to just continue to win, and they need who did they lose to first? Miami. They need Miami to keep
Miami,
rolling
yeah.
too.
All right, to finish up, I got to ask you: are we going to see any other coaches get fired after Week 4? Now that it's a trend,
Yes. Well, it depends on the results of this week. I think that
Friday night, if Tulsa beats Oklahoma State, do you think they
nah,
would?
they're gonna let they'll give Mike Gundy a couple more weeks just because there's really no point. Like they'll give him a couple more weeks because but at the same time they're gonna want to get head start on who the next coach is gonna be in case they're trying to steal a head coach or something like that. I'm trying to think who you could see in a weird spot. Hmm. Geez, all the Big Ten, like 12 of the 18 Big Ten teams are uh, undefeated still. Um,
What if Clay Helton loses at home to University of Maine to fall to 1-3?
yeah, that would be bad. That would be bad. Um, damn,
It feels like a
everybody in.
trend now. Like
Oh,
people
oh, oh!
started
It's
to.
Napier, dude. It's Napier.
Oh man,
If they get boat race this weekend, this could go badly.
do you think there's an opportunity for them to not? Oh well, yeah, yeah. I mean, Miami's looked really really good, but yeah, is there an opportunity you think for Miami to run away with it?
Yes, yes, because
LSU
their
couldn't move the
offense is
ball.
better than LSU's.
Hmm, that would be a bummer.
Yep,
But
100.
so was the Brent Pry thing. So was the Deshaun Foster thing. It's a business.
Yeah, it's a business and it's hard, dude. And you know, everybody doesn't get, fair shakes and everything else. But you guys, this is the college football apostles for this week. I'm George Wrighster. He's Ralph Amsden. Make sure that you like, subscribe, get notifications, and tell a friend about the show. Peace out. We will catch you guys next week.